the moment that inspired me to become a costume designer actually goes way back to my teenage years growing up in Jamaica. I remember there were like orange trees and fruit trees in my parents' backyard, and from time to time I would clamber up in this tree with a sketch pad and I would like draw these drawings, and then I would get back into the house and would go into my mom and ask her, "Hey mommy, can you get the dressmaker to make this dress for me?" And she would just be like, oh. And somewhere in there I knew that I wanted to make clothes. And then in my college years, when I came to the States and I was at Pratt, that's when it kind of clicked that there was a connection between going to the movies and what people wore. So right there was when those two ideas from my teenage years to a young girl out of university, they kind of coalesced. And then I realized that was the niche that I wanted to be. I wanted to be a costume designer. My very first job in the industry was as an intern. I was working on a movie, and I remember it was in New York City. It was very heavy union, and because I was not a member of the union, I couldn't even go on the set. My job was to polish shoes. I sat in the wardrobe room day after day polishing the actors' shoes and doing minor repairs. But as I sat there, I would listen to the conversations of the set costumers and the supervisor, and it was just like I had these antennae and everything, I was just like getting all these signals. And literally before the movie ended, they had to leave to go on to another project. And the producer, it was like a 2-week end to be completed. And the producer came to me and he said, "Do you think you could finish this?" And I said, "Yes." And by this time now, they had allowed me to have, small trips to set and help out a little bit on doing background. And I finished the movie, and that's how I got into the Costumers Union in New York. With all the costumes I've designed over the years, it's a challenge for me to pick out which is my favorite costume. It's like asking a parent, who's your favorite child? However, without too much thought, there is one piece that comes to mind. I did a movie called Fled, which was with Lawrence Fishburne and Stephen Baldwin. And there was this scene in a kind of Japanese sauna spa. And I had to make these obi robes because they were going to be on stunt women, and they were going to, I couldn't shop it. I had to build multiples. And because everything, the spa was going to just get shot to bits. And I just got into doing research on obis and Japanese kimonos and what they look like. And I remember just being fascinated by the culture of the kimono. And that's actually one of the first pieces that I did sort of, with little approval, just do my own thing. And I think that's why it stands out when I'm asked that question, which was my favorite. So I would say the kimonos that I designed on Fled. Alexander McQueen is one of the contemporary designers that inspires me today. His use of unorthodox materials, his shaping it just really speaks to me. And then going further back, there's an iconic American designer, Charles James. His work is, I was actually fortunate to meet Mr. James in the latter part of his life. He was still doing designs for a few Park Avenue clients, and I was just in awe of this person and his work. And I'm so glad to see that, the American fashion industry is finally starting to acknowledge what a master he was at draping and his ball gowns. And I look at that stuff and it's just beautiful work. So those are two of my favorites. Two extremes, Charles James and Alexander McQueen. Before I became a costume designer, I wanted to be, of all things, it's hard to imagine, I wanted to be a dentist. But I don't think I'd want to be a dentist now, having done the work that I've done. So I would probably want to be a shoe designer. It's a little private passion of mine. And actually, I'm working on making that second dream come true.